Now I'd like to share what Rabbi Soloveitchik says at the beginning of the Golden Calf when he compares the personalities of Moshe and Aaron. So it says in the verse, let's just read the first two verses, chapter 32, verses 1 and 2. Vayara the people saw, Ki boshesh Moshe Maredes Minahar, that Moses was delayed in coming down from the mountain. The whole sin of the golden calf happened because Moshe Rabbeinu was late. This shows us the importance of showing up on time. Everybody needs to come on time in life. Vayikael ha'am al Aaron, and the people gathered at Aaron, and they said to him, Vayomer elav kum aseh lanu Elohim, make for us you can translate this as a god or as a leader, Asher yalchu lefanenu, who will walk in front of us. Kizeh Moshe ha'ish asher elanu me'eretz Mitzrayim lo yadanu mehayelo. This man Moses, who led us up from Egypt, we don't know what's happened to him. We need a new Elohim. Now the word Elohim can either be we need a new God, or it can mean the word Elohim in the Bible can also mean a judge. So maybe it can mean we need a new leader. So Vayomer Alehem Aaron, and Aaron responded. Parkunas me'azav, remove your golden earrings. Asher ba'oznei neshechem v'nechem v'nosechem v'aviu elai, that are on the ears of your wives and your daughters and your sons, and bring them to me. Your wives, your sons and daughters, and bring them to me. So, just want to also read, before we get into Rabbi Soloveitchik's paragraph on this, in verse 5, it says, Vayisparku kol ha'am, on verse 3, and all the people removed their earrings, and they brought them to Aaron. Verse 4, Vayikach mi'adam, Aaron took them, Vayatzer oso b'cheret, and he stuck it into a mold. Vayaseu egel masecha, they made a molten calf. Vayomer, and they said, Eila Elokecha Yisrael, Eila Elohecha Yisrael, this is your God Israel, Asher alucha me'eretz Mitzrayim, that led you up from Egypt. Vayara Aaron, and Aaron saw this. Vayiven mizbeach lefanav, and he built an altar before him. Vayikra Aaron, and Aaron called out, and he said, Chag LaHashem machar. Aaron called out and said, there's a festival for God tomorrow, that there's a festival for God tomorrow. Let me just read the Rashi on verse 5, because Rabbi Soloveitchik is going to refer to it. So the Rashi on verse 5 states as follows. The Rashi tells us, V'ro hayom, but not today. Shema yava Moshe kodem sheyavdu, because they were worried, because he did not say today, Aaron didn't say today, that he said the holiday will be tomorrow, because he thought Moses might still come before they started the worship. That's the simple meaning. But the Midrash tells us as follows: Dvarim harbei ra'ah Aaron. Aaron saw many things. Ra'ah Hur ben achoto shaya mochicham. He saw Miriam's son Hur was rebuking them. Varadu, and they killed Hur, and that's what it means. Vayivem is beach lefanav, that he built an altar before it. Rashi says, read it as Vayiven mizavuach lefanav. The Midrash says he saw from the one who was slaughtered. The Baal HaTurim tells us on this, by the way. I know I'm jumping to the Baal HaTurim before I get to Rabbi Soloveitchik. The Baal HaTurim tells us on chapter 32, verse 5. The Baal HaTurim tells us, Mizbeach lefanav. This is the gematria Zehu Chur. This refers to Chur. That is the numerical value, being told that this was Chur. Aaron had saw Chur who was killed. And furthermore, Aaron said as follows. He said, Mutav sheyitla bi'aseh rachon v'lo bahem. He said, I'd rather that I be responsible for the sin rather than them. He was worried that they would kill him and then they would commit an irredeemable sin. So he said, let me be the ones who sins and not them. And then he said, listen, I can delay. If they build the altar, and one person will bring a stone, one a pebble. Whenever you get a lot of people on the committee, things don't happen. Now, so if I'm building it, he said the opposite. If you get a lot of people building it together, it'll happen all at once. But I'm building it, I can delay. Moshe. In the meantime, Moses came. So Rashi is giving several explanations to what Aaron was doing. That Aaron, like a defense of Aaron. What were these explanations that he was saying to defend Aaron? He was saying, first of all, he said, maybe Moses will come back. He was just delaying. Second of all, he was saying he was worried that they were going to kill him. And the problem with that is that they would be eternally punished. So he said, I'd rather it all comes on me, and also I want to delay it. Okay, now let's go back to what Rabbi Soloveitchik says. He says, we note Moses and Aaron's different reactions to the golden calf. The one denouncing, exhorting, and enlightening. Moshe was denouncing and exhorting and enlightening. His approach was just rebuke, straight out rebuking. Who is for God? Come to me. And he kills people, goes tent to tent, slaughtering the people. The other working along with the people, procrastinating, hoping against hope to diffuse the frightened and confused masses in time for Moshe's return. Aaron was no less pious than Moses, but he had a different approach. Aaron was no less pious than Moses, but he had a different approach. So this is what Rabbi Soloveitchik says. Both approaches have to be combined. The people must not only be taught by instruction, but also by warm and friendly guidance. The king teacher, represented by Moshe, represents the Midas Hadin, the teacher who's criticizing, exhorting, holding people accountable for transgressions and failures. The Amma Aretz, the ignorant, and the lax are censured. Emes! Truth demands unbending justice. In the eyes of the Ish Emes, nothing must be given gratuitously. Rewards only according to one's merits. If a person is deserving, let him be loved. If he's undeserving, no love. Any deviation is unpardonable. The sinner is deserving only of reprimand and instruction. But Aaron, the same teacher, represented by Aaron, is primarily guided by chesed. Aaron was limitless compassion, overflowing kindness. The essence of chesed expresses itself in its universality, its ultimate love from which no one is excluded. Sinai, by the way, is this moment in the Jewish history where everybody was there. And that's why the Rashi says everybody was healed at Sinai. Everybody was able to partake in it. The Ish Chesed, the person of the unqualified love, does not ask the recipient of his love to present moral credentials. His love is gratuitous as well as boundless. While the king teacher rebukes the sinner in harsh language, the same teacher sheds a tear of sympathy. So Aaron knew what was going to happen to him, according to Rashi, but he was crying with them. King teacher scorns iniquity, while the same teacher, saddened by iniquity, speaks softly. The former fights for truth through exhortation and instruction, the latter by reproaching the sinner the way a loving mother reproaches a mischievous child. The sermon of the king teacher is often harsh, saturated with prophetic indignation. The sermon of the same teacher is subdued, saturated with prophetic love. He teaches through love and concern. And so now is where Rabbi Soloveitchik says Moses was the model of the Rav, Aaron of the Rebbe. Moses is like the harsh rabbi, but Aaron is the warm Hasidic Rebbe. He was able to be sympathetic to them, to see their sin. Moses was a kvad peh, non-verbal person, not given to small talk, easy socializing, extensive negotiations. He was Rabbeinu, Moshe Rabbeinu, a scholar teacher, uniquely spiritually endowed, who communicated tersely, except for the book of Devarim. He was a teacher primarily to Joshua, the elders of Israel, Ziknei Israel, and to others who were qualified. Whereas Aaron is called Chesed and Shalom. Moses is Emes and Tzedek. Moses is truth and justice, and Aaron is kindness and peace. And that's what Rabbi Soloveitchik was saying, that this is the contrast between these two. Now, in this passage, we see that it didn't work for either one. That's why what Rabbi Soloveitchik is saying is we need this combination in our life, this combination of being both Moshe and Aaron, having the emes with the chesed, the love and kindness with the truth. And that's what Rabbi Soloveitchik sees in their response. Can we just pause for a second if anybody has anything to add?